So I'm going to go ahead and bring both of our guests on for this. So we have Brad Kerner and we have Jackie Hui. So hi guys, so nice to
Hello.
have you and nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, Steph.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so I would love to first have each of you talk a little bit about your experience in the space, because you both are like actual, like perfect experts to talk to about this. Brad, do you want to start?
Sure, just a quick bio. Yeah, I started as an architect originally. Then I loved theater and theme design. So then I moved into architectural lighting for many years in Boston before I moved into product development side of the business and LED lighting. Had a long career in a variety of places. And I wound up now in Hollywood at a company called Megapixel, where we're doing micro LED displays and LED processing systems. So I've kind of seen the whole LED transition and transformation and where we are in sort of the absolute state of the art right now.
Fantastic. Jackie, what about you? You want to talk a
Great.
little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Jackie. I'm the director of lighting design for Stanford Hotels Corporation. Stanford Hotels Corporation, we own and operate full service hotels throughout the United States. We're a little unique. We have a unique model, business model distinguishes us from a typical hospitality company or a single disciplined business. We have very unique perspective in on managing projects and how to engage directly with all the disciplines, and it's the most important goal for us is the guest experience.
Absolutely. That's like the perfect kind of segue to my first like question. So, lighting has kind of evolved far beyond functional use, kind of
Yep.
where we are in the market right now. How are you each seeing this leverage to shape things like mood, guest perception, brand identity, even in hospitality spaces? Jackie, do you want to take this first?
Yes, sure. Um, hotel spaces are very unique. We promote and we inspire the guest's experience. It's all about the guest expectation when they come to a hotel. Is it a budget hotel? Is it a five-star hotel? So they have their expectations already embedded in their mind. So our experience is when they come in to our hotel, first 5 seconds, they already know I like it, I don't like it. It's their
Yeah.
response. It's natural. So we like to inspire them. Depends on the market that we are in, the product we put out. Lighting is a big part of it. Of course, there's some technology involved, like color temperature, the color rendering, how we render the space, true colors, the color temperature selected. We create highlight versus contrast, visual interest, create drama to give them, so they're not the guest experience, they're not specifically talking about red accents on soft fabric. It's all that experience when they come in.
Absolutely. Brad, from your experience, what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm just old enough that I saw old school lighting technologies from halogen to fluorescent. And what LED did is that it came in a dematerialized light. Instead of needing big lamps and hot, heavy, fire breathing, all sorts of stuff,
Right.
it's literally now like grains of rice, grains of sand, literally smaller than grains of sand is what we're working with for the light source. So now you can put lighting anywhere you want in any shape or form or size. And when done right, it can like basically last forever, in theory at least. And you can mix any color or technology you want. So you really now are completely unlimited by the technologies. So it puts the onus on the creative direction to come up with concepts that really push the boundaries of what can be done with, creating immersive environments and great architectural placemaking.
Absolutely. What are the most impactful innovations? And you kind of talked about this a little bit, Brad, but that you've each seen recently in smart or even tunable lighting for hospitality environments?
Well, I saw this for 2 decades because I worked for Color Kinetics, which was very, very advanced for the industry. But basically, you can add any part of the spectrum you want. And I think people not familiar with lighting don't really understand that you can achieve anything you want in lighting if you know how to do the technology right. Right? There is no light source you can't replicate Like there's no theoretically perfect sunshine lighting out there and stuff like that. You can replicate anything you want with LED lighting. So what do you do with that, right? And you've then a big concept I'll talk about is every light is a pixel and every pixel is a light, right? We're seeing this fusion where in any of these modern projects, when you have a full wall of LED display, that's the light source in the room, right? And you can't ignore that. We're going to see more and more of that seamless fusion between these concepts of architectural lighting, display, integrated, embedded lighting. It's all just going to blend together.
Yep. I agree. I use a lot of color kinetic products before. So when you mentioned the color, the RGB values right now, it's all over the world. You can even go on Amazon and buy RGB lights, and but the challenge is how to use it properly. I think I would say the most impactful is the word careful. Careful use of LEDs with the RGB colors, because it can go crazy, or and people go like, what was that about, right? So we have used in our hotels in very selectively, very carefully, how we accent present some accenting, and sometimes it's a feature light that we use the colors morphing in and out to do color shows, accenting a wall covering on the ceiling to create the mood and the drama. So I think the word careful should be emphasized for the users to use it accordingly.
That's a good answer.
Jackie, just to add on
Yeah.
to that, there's just to help people understand like the difference between what can be done versus what's on the market in terms of products.
Yep.
In 2006, I wrote a concept for a product line replacing RGB with royal blue, amber, and 5600K white. And I called it the Skyline,
Yeah.
because you could replicate all the colors of the sky, including the
Mhm.
setting sun in the line of purples. 2006, that was like right over
Yep.
everybody's head, but now you
That is
might
right.
really appreciate that concept. Is that's probably what you really want in hospitality most of the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Absolutely. How do you each see lighting working in tandem with other AV systems to create these seamless experiences for, everyone who walks into that hotel? And what do you guys think like true integration of these systems look like?
Can I go first? How do I see it integrated? Badly is how I see it integrated.
Well,
Yeah,
There's this fundamental project division between lighting and AV,
yep.
and it's killing innovation at the project level. So like the application level innovation is just stifled by this, and it shocks me still when I talk to my old lighting colleagues. I say, hey, do you want me to come in and do a lunch and learn on like our micro LED displays that we got? Because you guys should be aware of what's going on. Oh no, that's in the AV package. We don't deal with that. And these are very innovative lighting designers, and they couldn't care less about the LED display side of it. And the same thing on the AV world. It's like they barely touch the fundamentals of good lighting design. So that divide has to vanish. Otherwise, the industry is going to be stifled. It's been stifled for a long time. It needs to resolve that.
Yep. Yep. For our projects, we integrate the AV portion with our lighting controls. It's all about the controls. We try to put all our hardware, all the equipment, the racks, it's back of the house.
right.
So no longer we need to push a little cart into the space with stands and speakers. So everything is integrated. But however, my biggest push in the industry now is in our properties first, of course, that we have a integrated controller, a touchscreen that has lighting, temperature, HVAC, and sound, select sources, because we want to be as intuitive as possible. So we do not have multiple controllers. Temperature is here, lighting is here, AV is here, and they don't look good, they don't match, and all that. So that integration is it's what we are pushing for, a single simple controller, and everything can be all controlled by one location.
No, I love to hear that. I think that, the whole purpose of having this panel is to be like, look, we need to all come together, like
Yep.
AV people, lighting
Yep.
people. This is like two sides of the same coin, essentially.
Hmm.
So I would also love to hear like real life examples of work that you've each done where lighting like truly transformed a space, either by elevating the atmosphere or directly supporting an event or like created a new revenue opportunity. I'd love to hear like any examples if you guys have any.
Brett, you want to go first?
Yeah, instead of a sort of specific project, I'll talk about a corporate venture that I was working on at Philips, where it was called Luminous Patterns. We were integrating decorative patterns of LED lighting into wall panel systems. So we were fusing lighting and graphic design and architectural materials, and thinking of this as just as a wall cladding system. And we created stunningly beautiful walls doing that as a specifiable pre-configured system. And unfortunately, the venture didn't survive, didn't make it forward, but that was clearly the right trend. And you've seen throughout now this fusion of light as an architectural material and as graphic design, and it's all one and the same. You see this in a lot of big lobby spaces, you see this in the ceilings and all that. That has a dramatic transformative effect on the feeling of the architecture. Le Corbusier said this famous quote, architecture is the masterly play of forms bathed in light. And I said, okay, what if you invert that and the forms emit light? The modernist architects didn't have a language for that. They don't know how to do it. And that's what most architects and interior designers are trained in. So they don't know how to handle this when the walls glow, or they can't emit patterns of light, or the graphics glow, or it's, God forbid, it's digital and it's like, all that on top of it. So there's a huge, huge potential there in transforming how you do placemaking.
Right. Right. Yeah. For our hotels, we would like to offer a selfie moment for the guests when they come in. There's always a feature in our hotels that captures their attention. For example, we have Hilton Washington D.C. opened 5-6 years ago. In the lobby, we have a massive chandelier. It's 2,300 crystals, spheres with hand blown bubbles. They are all unique. And then, of course, color LED show going through that chandelier. It's 10,000 pounds hanging above your ceiling, and the light show. Every day is a different light show. Throughout the day, throughout the seasons, we bring out holiday colors. The team sports team win. They have celebrating colors. So even during our installation, I was programming it, commissioning the system. People coming into the lobby, they were already like, well, selfieing themselves. Wait, it's not done yet. But that creates so much excitement. Even the initial setup, and people already get very excited about these installation. It's properly use of LEDs. Another project is right behind me on the photo. That's a Luma Hotel in San Francisco. We just opened a ground up construction 2 years ago, and the whole facade, you can see the whole facade is a light show, and we have a vertical light that transport all the design detail to the roof. And then again, after dark is a light show going on. It gives historic reference to the San Francisco Bay Area, where the salt ponds and all the colors morphing in and out. We developed this product specifically with a manufacturer for 7 years. We created all the new fixtures, new array of LEDs, photometrics. But I always promote that hardware is just hardware. To make it come alive, it's that human touch is where the magic happens, when we start commissioning it, programming what's in our vision, bring it out. And this hotel is right across from the ballpark, San Francisco Giants. And game days, you can see people, again, selfie moments. It's part of our our company's philosophy is we always want to offer something back to the community, not just for the hotel guests. This is public. You can walk by the sidewalk and you can do selfies. We love to share our properties, our experiences with anybody
Yeah.
that comes by. So those are very, very unique projects that we try to focus on in all our properties moving forward. There's always a feature, a lighting feature that people can enjoy.
I love that. I love to ask this question to everyone I talk to as well. Are there any common mistakes you each see when lighting design is introduced too late in a hospitality project, or worst case scenario, overlooked entirely?
Yeah, budget. Oh,
Yes,
the last
Classic.
speaker covered that very well, but I mean
absolutely.
that's the classic.
Money.
Yeah. As a lighting consultant, we went through this over and over again, where in schematic, you're not bringing in all the consultants. So you have a construction management team provide average budgets, typically per square foot, for, the standard mediocre construction styles. So then suddenly, once you're in DD, you have the architects have visions and they don't have the budget allotments put in there. So you're just behind the eight ball from the very beginning, begging
Correct.
for more money and haggling to move budgets around. That's tale as old as time. It's never going to go away. It's not technology dependent. It's just the nature of construction.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. On our side, because we are the owner and operators of the hotel, so budget is absolutely the number one concern throughout the construction. We have all the interior designers, the architects, on the creative side. However, we work with the owner so closely, and I'll use the same example, the chandelier in Washington D.C. The value. Am I okay to talk about value, or cost, actual cost, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. So the cost of that chandelier, just the hardware itself, was $700,000 to build. However, when we present to the owner, it's way more than the 700,000 just cost of the equipment, because it's 10,000 pounds. We have to beef up the structure. We have to reroute a mechanical. We have to do new electricals and all that, and so on and so forth. The chandelier end up to be over $1 million. So that's the budget we present to the owner. The cost of the chandelier is now this value. It's one point some million dollars, not just looking at the hardware. So same thing with, I think that's a reality that we always need to keep in mind, is not just hardware. And of course we have all the consultants fee to make it happen.
Yeah.
Hence that number get increased. And also the mistakes I see, besides the allotment of the budget, is the integration with each consultant. I mentioned earlier that we try very hard to have all the system integrated in one controller, the touch screen. Otherwise, we've seen in our previous, before our renovation, we have another controller here, another controller there, and they're all at different elevation, different finish, aesthetics, colors, and most importantly is the frustration on the guests to operate, because they have to come here, come there, do all kinds of stuff. So I think it's something we push forward now, is to have all the consultants talk to each other, and we oversee that to make sure that they are all integrated.
Yeah. Jackie, I'm also interested to hear from you, like from your perspective inside hotel operations,
Mhm.
how do you think about lighting differently depending on like guest type, time of day, purpose of space, and like keep all of those considerations intact?
Yes. Guest experience, again, is very important to us, especially in these days. Social media is so fast. So we want to a philosophy we have is to make sure everything is simple, straightforward,
Mhm.
simple operations, intuitive. I work with the owner very closely, and when we test the technology, we bring him in, and he says, "Don't tell me." Don't tell me. He will figure it out. He says, if I cannot figure it out as a as a layman,
Yeah.
it doesn't work. So
Right.
a lot of times, because we get so excited and so immersed into the, oh, let me show you. They said, don't tell me. And so because we also believe we do not want to teach the guests, coming to make sure you press this to do that, to do this. So that intuitive approach. For example, we have motorized shades in our guest rooms. So speaking of lighting, is to control the biggest light source in the room is the window, the light coming through. So there's so many ways to control that, and it sometimes it's touch and it'll do it. Sometimes you have to hold it, but so we want to give that controls logic a very serious thought, and then think on the guest side what is more intuitive. But for the lighting controls portion, we also, it's a very careful about what we give the guests, because a lot of times especially for our event space, like a ballroom, because some of these events, one time, somebody's birthday, somebody's retirement party, a wedding, there's no second chance to say, oh, the lighting doesn't work. No problem. 2 weeks, we have a technician come out to fix it. So how do we approach that? Is we design a redundant system. Lighting controls today, many brands, they are very capable. However, we want to make sure that we have redundant controls. The most simple, like we were mentioning before, was the scene preset selection. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, it will give you different looks. However, that controller may fail. I have been there. It failed, and then we have a backup system that we can override it in the back of the house on the other side of the room, and that backup fails, which happened to us before. We have another source, the third, 3 layers of redundancy that we can operate the lights, and because we want to make sure that our guests are taken care of, and some of these events, it cannot be repeated. And also it's the hotel's reputation, because they spend a lot of money to have their one-time event that's very memorable. We want it to be memorable rather than, yikes, it's a painful experience.
Absolutely. Brad, from your side, you've been really involved in designing lighting systems for both like architectural storytelling, technical precision. So how do you approach striking the balance between like design impact and also like long-term maintenance and efficiency?
Yeah, the biggest problem that I've seen over the decades is the technology advances so rapidly, the rest of the industry just can't keep up, right? There's
Right.
the famous line, the future's already here, it's just unevenly distributed. At Color Kinetics, we were starting the product development for lighting the top of the Empire State Building in 2007. I lit the whole Rijksmuseum here in Amsterdam in 2012 with LED lighting, and there was other people who could barely light 6 portraits on a wall. And that's very, very true in lighting controls, especially where there's a burden of legacy that just sort of cripples those systems, right? I mean, the bulk of lighting systems in the US is still like 0 to 10 volt controls. I mean, really? It's the year 2025, right? Or did I miss a few decades? I mean, see that tile behind me on the wall? It's a square foot micro LED tile. That has 129,000 pixels in it. That would be 250 DMX universes in a single square foot, 3/4 inch deep. So, there's a, for me at least, because I'm always, my head is in the future, there's a real gap between what the technology can do and what the systems are offered for sale right now. And I know the behind the scenes is that you just can't, you make a 5-button wall panel with 32 different faceplate styles and brushed copper and blah, blah, blah. You can't just upgrade that with the new technology. It's too slow. The whole supply chain is slow. The specifications take 5 years. Everything is just stuck. So being on top of the technology systems, looking outside of your normal things, thinking about like what's going on in the AV world where you're moving video around. I mean, you can get a 4K networked cloud-based player for like a couple $100 at most, which is, go to Lutron or Crestron and ask them to spec a 1 million light source cloud-based lighting control system, and they'll laugh you out of the room, and that's just normal in AV, right? So I don't, I would say look at performance specs on some of this stuff. Really makes a big difference. The technology is advancing so rapidly that in 2 years it will be advanced. So don't get fixated on a product. Fixate on the performance you want and what you expect it to be in 2 years from now or 3 years. And this was back in the LED revolution. This really hit designers hard, that they would spec these products. They wouldn't even be on sale anymore 3 years later.
Yeah. In each of your experiences, what role do you think lighting actually plays in influencing an audience, or in this case, a guest's behavior or
Yep.
emotion? And how conscious do you think hospitality brands are of this?
Yep. I think it is extremely important for guests' impression of the space, and lighting tells the story. They have the sense that the guests can only express using their own terms. Like, for example, they will say it doesn't appear clean.
Yeah.
It's basically technology, color temperature. It's a wrong color temperature, or a wrong color rendering that shows cleanliness. That's how they respond. It's the psychological responses. For example, also is we have daylight sensing. These days, all about saving energy. If it's within certain distance from the glass, window facade, a storefront, those lights in that zone needs to be turned off. It's all good. It's technology. And however, a guest response is, some lights are on, some lights are off. Something is broken. Oh, social media, reputation not maintained well. So those are things that is their behavior. That's their response, psychological, and the sense of safety. We all stay in the rooms, hotels. Sometimes I'm guilty. I have to leave a nightlight in the bathroom, or to feel safe. So in our properties, we give them that sense. We have built-in integrated night lights that are motion activated. In public restroom, also, code says we have to turn off all the lights when there's no motion. But nobody would like to open a public restroom and it's dark, and so we want to the way we do it is we put some decorative element in the bathroom, act as a nightlight. So most of the lights will turn off. However, and then they open. Oh, there's some decorative lights in there. So they're happy. They feel safe, and that's what we like to make them feel. So
yeah, focusing on how the guest feels first and foremost, and then working backwards from that would lead to totally different concepts of how you do the lighting controls and how you structure the lighting, right? People shouldn't see lighting. They should see a magnificent morning breakfast experience, or they should see a romantic evening experience, or they should be able to put their face on in their mirror flawlessly and look beautiful. They shouldn't see, oh, I need to figure out which one of these 10 buttons I need to push to turn the lights on.
exactly.
Right. So that's so broken, right? Our lighting controls all came out of theatrical preset systems, which was designed for theater, where you had a sequential number of preset scenes.
Yep.
It's still derived from that, and that's why it's fundamentally so bad and broken. I know as a lighting designer, I expect way too many of those systems, and I don't think I made a single end user happy with any of them. So if you really want to reinvent that process now, you look at the magical moments that a guest goes through from the moment they step on foot in the property to the moment they exit that property. And you think, how can we use all these technologies or whatever, but you don't even think about that first. You think about, what could we do to make this special for the guest at check-in, or in the elevator lobby, or whatever, in the gym.
Absolutely. One of the last questions I have for each of you is, looking ahead, what lighting technologies, trends, and even guest expectations do you each think will define the next wave of hospitality design?
Yes, this is exciting. For our properties, we are looking into two major development. One is we call it programmable, tunable white desk lamps. in the guest room, because the color temperature will adjust to daylight to promote the circadian rhythm. So the desk lamp built in with GPS, so we enter the geographic location, so they know when it's sunset, when it's sunrise, what the color temperature of the day. So the desk lamp is going to react, so everybody can associate with daylight and the intimacy of the evening settings. So that's one thing, we're looking into it. We haven't deployed yet. The other is the doorbell system, to integrate with the hotel's property management system, so we can deploy staff accordingly each day, so it saves the resources. And the another thing is the smart wireless lighting controls and electrical in the room. Before, we have to do a lot of electrical work to rewire things. Now it's all wireless. We are working with a very specific brand to look into these wireless options that can control every receptacle, every light fixture in the room. It's a transmitter and a receiver system, and it opens up a whole new world of lighting controls for the guest room. So those are the three areas that we are looking into the future, that we're working on very hard to give us, our guests, a good experience.
Those are great.
I see this trend right now, and in fact, we're working on a couple huge 7-star hotel projects where they're specifying the entire wall as an LED display, but that's just one part of it. What I see coming forward is you have these sort of CRM guest database systems. We have this enormous knowledge of what the guest preferences are. You have these live rendering and AI generative systems that can instantly respond. And then you have these digital surfaces. So when you add that up, you're going to get this very, very responsive, dynamic, and highly personalized, immersive digital experiences, even in the guest room, right? And right now, that seems ludicrous in terms of the project budgets. But again, if you spec the performance, the price drops, you will get there very quickly. It's already happening in the 7-star realm, where we are getting guests, these COO level people that they're hungry for something new. They know something is wrong with how they're designing these experiences, and they can't quite synthesize the technology to create something new. And I think you're going to see that. And if I could add one more thing, I think DC power is going to be very big in reducing the costs on a lot of this stuff. Moving from there's no point to having AC in most of these buildings, because it's all low power, low wattage, low voltage stuff. And you're paying all this money to have union electricians pulling high voltage everywhere, and then all these converters, and it's useless. So I think DC power and the sustainable net zero energy transformation will take a lot of cost out of all of these fancy pants new systems.
Absolutely. No, I think those were great kind of final thoughts. Winding down from each of you, I would love, and I know our audience would love, if you could each talk about where they can find you online, or more information about the work that you both do. Jackie, do you want to start?
Yes, I'm at Stanford Hotels Corporation. You can reach me on my email, Jackie@stanfordhotels.com.
Perfect. Brad, what about you?
Find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. I keep a blog, Lucept, LUCEPT.com, or just email me at brad.kerner@megapixelvr.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you both so much. I have appreciated your time, and I know I have learned a lot, and I hope our audience has too. Thank you guys so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.